Welcome to BreezeLine, where you'll say, "Ta-ta, T-Mobile, our home internet is just plain better. More reliable and faster because we put internet first. If there's network congestion, we won't slow your internet down like T-Mobile does to help their cell customers." And right now, you can try out a true internet experience with BreezeLine's reliable and fast fiber-powered home internet. Find your perfect speed with prices starting at $19.99 a month for 24 months. Terms and conditions apply. Go to breezeline.com to learn more.
Hey guys, I'm Jerry.
And I'm Tracy, and we are
Hillbilly Horror Stories.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Jay.
And we are
Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
We are excited to be doing a live event with Hillbilly Horror Stories at Postown Elementary, a school located in Middletown, Ohio, in the Cincinnati-Dayton area. Postown has been known as one of the most haunted schools in the world for decades now.
In fact, their slogan is, "When you leave here, you believe."
The event is Saturday, April 22nd from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. inside the haunted school.
Wait, we're going to be in a haunted school at night?
Yeah, that's our best chance of seeing ghosts. But there's only 50 tickets available and priced at only $30. They're going to go fast.
Your tickets get you to a live podcast by both Hillbilly Horror Stories and Cryptids of the Corn, as well as the ability to roam around one of the most haunted locations in Ohio.
So get your tickets today at hillbillyhorrorstories.com.
There'd be a lot of poop in my pants. I've seen a 6-foot alligator go swinging through the air and slam into a tree.
These guys are the scientists of the supernatural, lecturers leaving lessons for inquiring laymen. They are applying the scientific method to a world that baffles science. They are the Cryptids of the Corn.
But who else has big black wings and red eyes?
Batman.
Oh, Mothman.
Oh yeah, Mothman.
A great white shark was stolen.
Oh, someone stole a shark?
I got stuff for you don't even know about.
She's a witch. She turned me into a newt.
Who knows? Anything could be possible. Anything could be possible.
It's really big abduction vibes.
Holy moly.
It sounds like you were abducted.
And it just stood up. I mean, it just like kept going and going. And she goes, "What the?"
Hello, and welcome back to Cryptids of the Corn podcast. I am the great and powerful Mystery.
And I am your corn cult leader, Jay.
And together, we're joining to make an amazing, fun episode. I'm sorry this is your guys' first intro to our show ever, because this is weird. It's a weird intro.
What do you mean?
It's just like, I'm just yelling, "I am the great..."
Oh, yeah.
It's like, and you lead a call, like, what the hell is that about?
Yeah, I know.
It's like, listen to older
welcome.
episodes. Welcome. If this is your first episode, welcome. If it's not your first episode, welcome.
Yeah.
We appreciate all of you.
We accept everyone in our cult.
Yeah, and before we get to today's topic, if you're new here, because we haven't done a if you're new here thing in probably a year, because I haven't thought about it.
It's been a minute.
We do at the top of the episode, we do reviews, Patreon, and we just do some basic front of house stuff, and then we get to the topic. Right?
Correct.
I'm like, you're not saying nothing. You're just looking.
No, I was just waiting for, yeah.
Once again, we have Encounter Quest coming up. We are speakers. We're talking about the Arkansas Giant Killer Centipede.
Yep. Our debut speaking day.
April 1st, North Carolina, Hamlet,
North Carolina.
Come see us. It's going to be a ball.
April 1st, Encounter Quest.
Next thing is YouTube. We're starting to do a lot more stuff on YouTube, the YouTube Live exclusive stuff. So please look on the Facebook page, the Instagram, that kind of stuff if you want to see that kind of thing. We're having guests and stuff on. So what we're mostly doing with that is like a lot of these guests have really cool pictures and stuff like that just don't translate to the podcasting world.
Okay.
So we're using the YouTube for that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, just keep an eye out for that. And then, I guess, Encounter Quest. If you're coming to a show, let us know. I try to learn everybody's faces as much as possible.
We like meeting our friends.
Yes. Friends, fans, family, whatever.
We don't have fans. We have friends.
Yes. But yeah, so if you're coming to a show, let us know. We just try to learn your face. So when we see you, we can be like, hey.
Yeah, like.
It doesn't always work.
Right, exactly. But for the most part, yeah.
Especially if you catfish us.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Anyways.
We prefer real catfish.
if you have something you'd like to be on the show about, or like you're promoting something or something, the best way to contact us is through email. We are no longer scheduling through Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. It just got too difficult. That's pretty much the front of house stuff, but we're going to get to new reviews.
Yep. New reviews on our
Apple Podcasts is pretty much the only place I can get to the reviews.
Yes.
And this is only 5-star reviews. We'll read all our 5-star reviews, no matter how goofy they are.
We'll read them.
And then, by the way, if you don't want to leave a comment review, we would still greatly appreciate if you leave us 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 10,000 you guys listening on an average week. So if you all could hit that 5-star review, it pushes us up towards the top and helps us get more listeners, and we graciously appreciate that.
More friends in the cult.
More friends in the cult. First review, Seeking Souls 33. 5 out of 5, Floating Mushroom. They say, such a fun podcast. Love the banner, the science, and the theories. The floating mushroom is now my new favorite theory. As above, so below. Haha.
So true. Floating Mushroom is our joint show with Sean and Chris from Kill the Mockingbirds podcast.
Sean and Chris?
Sean, Chris, and Joel. Sorry.
I was like, Sean
I don't
and
know why.
Chris. I'm like, who's Chris?
Yeah, I know. Well, Sean's name. He has 2 first names, and I always want to call him by his last name.
Yeah.
And every time, it's just funny.
Next review is Appalachian Musician. And he says, love this podcast and this episode. And I'll tell you what episode he's talking about here in a second. Hey you all, great episode. I grew up in Hellier and loved the series on Netflix. Grew up hearing about tales and legends. I wrote a song called The Witch of Graveyard Holler. Talking about one of those legends. Keep up the great work. So I think he commented on that same episode, The Floating Mushroom.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, check out his song.
He's an Appalachian musician?
Yep.
Sweet.
He actually emailed us his song too. It's pretty good. Everybody go check it out.
Does he play the spoons?
Don't know. Didn't ask.
Seems like an Appalachian instrument.
All right. So, Jay, welcome our new Patreon members.
Okay, so we have 2 new Patreon members that decided to join us on our journey. The first one is Cryptid Inspector 89.
And that is Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Oh, hi, Dustin.
He's the fire hydrant inspector.
Welcome, Dustin. We're glad to have you part of our group here. And then our second one, I hope I'm saying this right, it's Cleater Cruel. Cleater Cruel with 2 Ks.
Thank you, Cleater Cruel.
Yeah.
And once again, if we're saying your name wrong, just email us.
Yeah,
Tell
email us.
We'll fix it on the next one.
Send us an angry message.
An angry message.
Yes. Write us a letter.
All right. You ready to get into the topic at hand?
What is the topic today?
Bigfoot and the UFO connection.
Now, we've danced around this many times.
Especially going back to like when we did a long time ago, Bigfoot and the Paranormal.
Season 1.
It was, wasn't it? Before we even thought we were going to do seasons.
Yeah, a long time ago.
We just kept numbering episodes, and we hit 50, and we're like, we should do something about this.
Yeah.
But no, so yeah, it's definitely, it's one that I don't know how I feel about it, and it gets reported quite a bit.
The connection between the 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a series of stories. Basically, for this one, I just pulled Mysterious Universe. We use their stuff all the time. They great website for this kind of stuff. But we pulled some stories off of theirs, and then we're going to talk about our theories of what could be causing this. But a general overview of this theory is Bigfoot and UFOs are often seen in vicinity of each other, whether the Bigfoot is seen before the UFO, vice versa, or at the same time. They are often seen coming out of UFOs, going into UFOs, or being tracked by UFOs. I have one story that it's kind of hard to tell which one's happening.
Okay.
They are often skinnier and having red eyes. So when I say they're often skinnier than our typical Sasquatch that's reported.
Right.
So like the one I encountered was a very hefty young fella.
Not skinny.
Not skinny.
Bulky.
He was about 4.5 foot wide at the shoulder. These things generally seem to be like the same height, but a lot skinnier. Mm-hmm. And I think that's freakier.
A little bit.
Like, because it's like, why?
Yeah, that's the only reason, yeah.
So they also are known to have psychic phenomena in these encounters. So whether that's the Sasquatch talking to people or something else talking to people, but there's sometimes these weird like connections with psychic phenomena.
Okay.
So like mind speak and stuff like that gets associated with Sasquatch and aliens.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what do you think about that that general overview?
Well, it kind of separates that part between Sasquatch being that biological being and that paranormal being that's seems to be both camps in this world, but it definitely is. I don't think it draws a connection between the two, but it's just showing you that there's something else going on in this whole realm of things.
We've talked that line a lot. That is probably the biggest line in the Bigfoot community.
Yeah.
And whether Bigfoot's a flesh and blood creature or it's a supernatural being. And I'm going to lump the UFO, it would be a supernatural being.
Yeah.
Whether it's...
Or somehow, maybe there's another one that's a combination of both.
That's what, yeah.
So it's weird. It's hard to break down.
But this is the probably biggest fighting topic for the Bigfoot community.
Yeah.
And it's fine. We don't argue about anything. Argue.
Right. We're not each other's throats.
Yeah, we'll discuss this. But me and you over the years have come up to roughly the same understanding that there's just at least two different types of Bigfoot.
Just something else. Something's going on.
There's something extra that I fully believe was flesh and blood.
Right.
It was scared of a firearm. It ate food. It was very animalistic, as in that we are animalistic.
Yeah.
It had animalistic needs.
Tendencies. Yeah.
But I have people that we've talked to on the show, not on the show, but through the show and stuff like that have had supernatural Sasquatch encounters, and I believe them 100%.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't think it was the thing I seen.
Yeah, there's definitely two separate things going on, especially with the things with red eyes and things not with red eyes.
That's the big draw for me too.
Yeah,
that it's like that's eye shine, not eye reflection. Like the eye's actually glowing.
Right. Yeah.
Not reflecting light back.
Right.
Reflecting light back is fine. To have red, because a lot of animals have red reflections, and that's all that means is that it's reflected in the blood off the back of their eyes,
right?
And that's the light that's coming through. Red, the eye's just sitting there glowing red in the dark.
Yeah, screw that.
Yeah. Are you ready for the first encounter we have for you?
Yeah.
One very odd account that was supposedly actually investigated by CIA's Project Blue Book. UFO mission allegedly occurred in 1966. At Pesquite Island State Park along Pesquite Island Bay on Lake Erie. And this is in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Pesquite, I think that's right. Pesquite. I'm not really quite sure.
Somewhere in there.
But Lake Erie has all these, the Pierre Marquette is in Michigan. That's actually Lake Michigan. But it's not spelled like the Pierre Marquette.
Oh, okay.
But it's pronounced Pierre Marquette.
Kind of, yeah, like Sault Ste. Marie.
Yeah, half the letters are left out. You don't pronounce it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, then why do you put them in there?
Native thing, maybe.
Well, we killed them all, so I don't know why you left the language.
It was a throwback. Callback.
To help remember.
Do you remember?
The 25th night of December.
Christmas?
Yeah.
I do remember.
So on the evening of July 31st, 1966, some visiting tourists were driving down the beach when their car got stuck in the sand, and one of them got out to go get a tow truck. So they had to walk. Remember, this is 1966.
Okay.
And if you're new to the show, I'm a very bad reader, but so are we both. So just stick with us.
Right, yeah.
A passing police car stopped by to help them. They came back a little later to check on them. So basically this cop car kind of stops. It's like, okay, what's happening? And they're like, well, Todd went to get a tow truck. And they're like, okay, do you need any help right now? No, not really. There's nothing really you can do. We don't, Todd's walking. So like, okay, I'm assuming they drove down kind of looking for Todd, didn't find him. So they were going to come back later just to make sure they were still okay.
Gotcha. Okay.
This is a group of people. It's not just leaving, one or two people on the side of the road abandoned. It's a fairly large group of people stuck in the sand at the beach. So that they're just enjoying their night kind of in this situation. Because when I first read it, that was weird to me.
It's odd, yeah.
The cops just left him there. Like, oh, no. They were kind of there enjoying the beach anyways.
Yeah.
I got to find a passing police car stopped, and they came back a little later to check on them. And that was when the 4 tourists and the 2 police officers all witnessed a strange light over a patch of nearby forest. The policeman and one of the groups, and one of the men from the group named Douglas Tibbetts went to check out, and the others waited behind. Things would get very strange from here. So right now, the 2 cops and one of the guys are going to check on this weird light that's hovering over the woods.
Yeah.
The investigation group would only have walked a few hundred yards when they could hear the car horn honking wildly. When Tibbetts and the 2 officers got there, they were very agitated. Or the others were very agitated and scared. They would claim that they had seen what was described as a bulk black shape, bigger than a man, big head, right on some shoulders, arm-like appendages with no visible hands, no visible face, as though it had its back turned to them. The creature had appeared in front of the car to loom over them before moving off into the night in the direction where the mysterious light had been seen. After this, the craft was with blinking orange and red lights had allegedly come down to land on the beach while tracking the figure with a beam of light. The police would go back to investigate and found very strange, anomalous triangular indentations in the sand, somewhat collaborating with the women had said that they had seen.
Okay.
So there's two separate crafts in this story. I know it's kind of hard to understand.
Yeah.
So there's this big thing that's sitting over a patch of woods the cops in Tibet go to look at.
Right, the glowing light that
Yeah.
they saw.
They
Okay.
get a few hundred yards. Then the car's going nuts.
Yeah, because they seen some black figure show up.
Huge.
Like shadowy, hulking black figure, yeah.
And then they get back, and they said that another ship with what was that, blinking orange and red lights, was following the figure with a spotlight.
So it wasn't the same craft. That
Yes, and
okay.
then it was not the same craft. Followed down to the beach, landed, and left. So we'll get to theories and stuff later, because this is kind of one of those ones that it's weird. It's hard. Was it chasing the Bigfoot?
Yeah.
Was it there to pick up the Bigfoot? Was the Bigfoot telling it, hey, come over here?
Was it a Bigfoot even?
Yeah.
You think so?
No, I don't know. So I'm just saying,
Yeah.
for this story, it's considered a Sasquatch.
Gotcha.
But Sasquatch-like, at least.
Right, yeah,
That's what we'll get to at the end.
I was going to say it's
Sasquatch-like.
Esque.
This would not be the only encounter for this year. From the files of researcher and author Albert Rosell, I'm going to go with Rosell, comes several other occurrences of September of that year. One of these happened near Penn Township in Pennsylvania, where 3 women were driving along through the wooded area, passing by a massive rectangular object that appeared to be metallic and was resting upon the ground. It was such an odd sight that they had stopped the car to see what the thing was. And in that instant, a ramp descended from the craft. As the woman looked on in awe, 3 7-foot-tall, hairy, ape-like creatures reportedly came barreling out of the craft down the ramp and running off into the woods. So I have more of the same month. It's really weird.
That is very weird.
So, and then it's like, so it's just weird. Then we're going to jump to 1973, and then there's a bunch of 1973. Okay, in the same area.
So this is all like in the same area
around Lake Erie for this little time frame.
Yeah.
And then it's just super weird. So this story, this craft is just sitting in the field. These women are immediately not like scared of it. They're just like, huh,
that's odd.
And they pull over to look at it.
Yeah.
This ramp starts coming down. 3 essentially Sasquatch-like things run out the ramp. They run out the craft and go in all different directions of the forest.
Almost like they're scouts or they're released. What?
You always do this.
Well,
I'm just a good storyteller, I guess.
Well, what do you want me to do?
No, go ahead. I just like it because it's literally that's like number 2 and number 3 on my what could these things be.
Gotcha. Well, I mean,
but no, it's definitely. It seems like or that the craft had taken several Sasquatch, and they took the opportunity to escape when they could.
Right? Yeah. It was like doors open. Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Or it's like a Fortnite. They're all hopping out that bus.
Oh, that's their spawn point.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about Fortnite.
I haven't played in a long time, but it makes sense. The bus came down, landed, boom, they're out. Let's go search for the other guys. Take them out with machine guns.
It's really weird, and nobody ever says directly this is a Sasquatch. Literally, their description is 3 7-foot-tall, hairy, ape-like creatures.
I mean, that's pretty much described as Sasquatch.
I know, but it's not exactly Sasquatch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, nobody says it's Bigfoot. Nobody says it's Sasquatch. Mm-hmm. And later on, a lot of these witnesses kind of say it was Bigfoot-like, but they didn't think it was Bigfoot.
Gotcha, okay.
So it's kind of a hard line, very ape-like.
Yeah, but, I mean, how tall are apes? 7 foot?
No.
I didn't think so.
But it just is weird.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about a whole separate episode eventually in South America where these violent 5-foot ape-like creatures were hopping out of spaceships and taking soil samples. And anytime people would see them, these little apes would literally try to murder them.
Jesus.
And you could fight them off and stuff like that, and they'd run back to the ship.
Yeah.
Almost like dogs.
Yeah.
It was like it was weird. Like they had a purpose, they were doing a job, but like they had really bad prey drive.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody's ever worked with a dog like that, where it can be the best dog, but when there's a prey animal,
they taking off and getting it. Yeah.
So just weird. What do you think so far?
Well, I mean, what was that 3 accounts now? Fairly similar.
Yeah, they're
sort of.
They're all kind of like on that same vein.
Yeah, like could be Sasquatch, could not be, but still, a ship, a 7-foot like either dark, hairy-esque, hulking creature, all showed up. And I guess the first one had the red eyes, right? Is that what they said? The first one?
No, none of these have had red eyes.
Oh,
so
no,
far.
no. Oh, we just mentioned red eyes.
Yeah.
Okay, but still.
I don't know if any of the ones I picked had red eyes, just to be honest.
Gotcha. Okay. Full disclosure.
We're going to talk about Chestnut Ridge. That's going to be its whole episode, but that's where the red eyes kind of come from.
And that's probably the most famous.
Yeah, it's its whole episode. So if you're waiting for the Chestnut Ridge in this episode, it's not coming.
It's not coming. So let's just get that out of the way real quick.
You can click off the episode right now.
Yeah.
Please don't, but
yeah,
that's what you're here for. I'm sorry.
This ain't this one. This is just all the other, or not others.
There's tons of these weird little one-offs.
Yeah. Yeah, but, yeah, I mean, so far, I don't know. I mean, with the connection of them all, I mean, it's pretty interesting because, you know, when anyone that's not into like the Bigfoot, but they know it exists, they don't really associate the two things being together.
Exactly.
At all.
I never did growing up.
Right. Me either. And the more you kind of like dig in, it's like, oh, okay, this is an odd connection. Two things that shouldn't be connected. They're in the same like kind of world. When you talk about UFO, paranormal things, and Bigfoot, like cryptid things, it's the same realm and world, but you don't actually get too many stories where they're together or coexisting until you actually are.
Until you dig into it and you realize, oh, what happens
more often than you realize.
Yeah, I mean, none thing in this field is common, but as far as if you type in Bigfoot connected to UFO,
yeah, there's an overlap.
There's a lot of articles that are going to pop up.
Yeah. And they're probably buried in the Smithsonian. Those articles are some archive somewhere.
It's a whole ship.
It's impossible.
There's a ship locked full of big apes that are just going nuts.
Oh, gosh.
Like a bunch of chimpanzees. These are just bonobos. The freaking spaceship caught bonobos.
Yeah.
And
they're training them.
Well, no, they got out.
Yeah.
They killed all the aliens in the ship because they captured bonobos.
Well, grays wouldn't be that hard to destroy, I don't think.
Because, think about it. Grays are really like... what do you call that? Snooty. So like, oh, we're so good, and then they don't really pay attention to bonobos, and the bonobos get out and beat them to death.
Just pull their heads off.
Anybody that doesn't know what a bonobo is, look up a video. Do not do it with a kid.
Oh, no.
Because it's...
No, please don't do that.
They have a lot of violence tendencies out of nowhere. All right, let's move on.
Yes.
September 27th, 1973. Oh. 2 girls were playing outside of Beaver County, Pennsylvania. Real quick. I've been to Beaver County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I did the fish surveys for Beaver Falls in Beaver County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. So that's
where I got knocked out of the boat by a muskie and electrocuted.
Oh, okay.
No joke.
That's how did muskie knock you out of the boat?
So, side story. When you survey fish, there's a very proper way. So you kind of like do these kind of big loops and push them into cover.
Okay.
And then you shock them while they're in the cover.
Right.
And that's how you get these big fish, like muskie, for example. They're really hard to catch out in the open.
Yep.
So you make them run to hide, and then you go get them while they're hiding.
Yeah.
That's the only time they're going to sit instead of run.
Yeah.
So we pushed it out, and this Beaver Falls has a lot of muskie.
Okay.
So we start seeing muskie pop, and muskie are really important for the survey. So we start netting muskie, but a gigantic muskie, like a 50-something incher.
Big boy.
There's just a tiny little space between me and the trees and water on the side of the boat. He jumps up into that, hits me in the side,
ooh,
and I go at the other side of the boat.
Yeah.
My coworkers are watching that muskie, not looking at what happened to me. So I'm getting fried as I'm in the water, and they finally killed the power very quickly. It was very, very short. But
so the muskie actually knocked you out of the boat?
Out of the boat.
Yeah, dang.
Giant muskie.
That was like when I caught my first muskie, I was 10, and my dad's trying. We never had caught a muskie before, so our net was only half the size. Like it did not fit a muskie, and so I'm reeling it in, And I fought this thing probably a half an hour at least, and it actually drug me. It was a boat with me, my dad, and my 2 brothers in it, and it drug our whole boat all the way across the lake to like the bank, and we pinned it up against the bank, and just like you said, and we pinned it up in there. I don't know how the line didn't snap, so my dad throws the net under it and just scoops it, and just like kind of flipped it up into the boat, tossed this thing, and its tail came around and did like the perfect face smack right across my face, like nailed me. It's flipped. Almost knocked me out of the boat, but it didn't. I was just close. So muskie are
big.
Good at doing that.
So once again, September 27, 1973, 2 young girls outside of Beaver County, Pennsylvania. They were startled to see an 8-foot-tall, hairy hominoid with glowing eyes run past them into the woods. According to one witness, it was holding some sort of glowing sphere in its hand.
Interesting.
Orb,
yeah.
One of the girls' fathers went to investigate and came back visibly frightened, shaken to the core, although he refused to say what had happened to him to this day. Interestingly enough, though, it would turn out that other locals had seen a silver object shooting a beam down into the woods at approximately the same time as the sighting. So this is a really cool one because the other side of the like it's like a Hardin County woods. So anybody that don't know, this is maybe a 400-acre woods. So you can see you can't see the other side of it.
Yeah.
So this on this side of it, these girls were playing. They seen this giant guy, hairy, red glowing eyes, run past him holding a glowing orb into this woods. The people on the other side of the woods seen a silvery disc ship shoot over to the woods and beam something down into the woods. So this is kind of one of those stories that, we love I can't say that.
Cooperation.
Yeah.
Cooperating stories.
Yes, yeah.
Accounts.
Where it's like, the one side did not know Bigfoot was seen, and the other side did not know a UFO was seen.
Right, yeah. But both were seen.
Yeah, approximately the same time. Nobody can say for sure, but...
Right.
Now let's bring it home a little bit.
Ooh.
The following month, a well-known such report occurred in the night of October 21st, 1973, when Miss Reefa Hatfield... I think it's Reefa. We'll go with the last name's
Miss Hatfield.
Miss Hatfield. And her 13-year-old son were sleeping in their trailer in Cincinnati, Ohio. When Hatfield woke up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water, she claimed to see a series of unexplainable lights in the parking lot. One of which being a cone-shaped construction of lights. So she's literally seen a bunch of lights stacked on top of each other like a cone. I almost imagine a Christmas tree.
Yeah, that's
in my head.
That's
no tree, but take the lights.
Just the shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When she peered outside to see what the lights were, she reportedly saw a huge ape-like beast with grayish hair covering its body, and it entered the lights before it, and a UFO shot off into the night. So she's thinking that this light cone is a UFO.
Okay.
So he kind of gets absorbed by this cone of lights and shoots up into the sky. In that same year, there was a report of a group of farmers in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, who had claimed to seen a huge UFO over 100 feet in diameter, next to which were standing 2 hairy ape-like creatures with arms that were dangling past their knees with glowing green eyes. One of the farmers promptly fired at them with a rifle, after which one of them raised its arm and the UFO shot off into the sky. The 2 hulking beasts remained appraised by the men for a moment and then ran off into the forest.
Okay. So the ship took off and then
the Bigfoot took off into the woods.
Okay.
So we have 2 stories here. We have this Ohio one. So this lady's in her trailer. She gets up to see a glass of water, a bunch of weird lights in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Not just this cone of lights. Yeah, but she assumes it's a UFO after the fact.
Right.
This Bigfoot is literally like standing outside their window.
Like
just
that.
Kind of turns in.
Kind of like the Willard. Was that the Willard UFO
Yes.
episode where the thing was looking in the window?
Yes, and that's another Bigfoot UFO connection.
Yeah.
But that one was only 5 foot tall.
Yeah.
And he kept saying what did he say, a gorilla? The other boy kept calling it a gorilla or a chimp.
Something, but looking
like
in the
a
window
chimp
at him.
kept taking my brother in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Anyways, so then he turned and got absorbed by this cone of lights and shot up into the sky. This next one, in Pennsylvania again, and where Chestnut Ridge is in Pennsylvania. True. Appalachia's weird.
A lot of things in Pennsylvania with this.
So they see this gigantic UFO, 2 basically Bigfoot-like creatures below. They shoot at one of them, and I don't know what that means. That means they shot at it intending to hit it.
Or just shot.
Shot as like a warning shot.
Yeah.
The Bigfoots look at them. One of them raises their hand. UFO takes off. They just stare at these guys, and then they walk off into the woods.
That's kind of weird. And the glowing green eyes. I wonder if it's like the chartreuse color, kind of what you saw.
That's what I'm going to assume.
Yeah. Because we've never heard like straight up green.
I think when most people say green, they mean chartreuse.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know what chartreuse is, it's green.
Yeah, in a way.
It's green and yellow.
It's a yellow green. It's a very, what's the word? Intense green yellow. I don't know how to describe it.
It's
chartreuse.
It's neon green.
Yeah.
It's like a neon green. Fishing lures are mostly, like a lot of fishing lures are chartreuse.
It's one of my favorite. Chartreuse and purple combo.
So you ready for some more?
Yeah. I mean, so far, these are very weird and interesting and not like what you'd expect from your typical Bigfoot story.
And they're all pretty short. There's some longer ones like Chestnut Ridge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But these are just kind of painting you the picture of this phenomena.
Yeah, and it's getting thoughts in my head what it could be.
Yeah, there you go. Just as harrowing was a report that came a few days later, this time in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. On this occasion, some farmers witnessed a dome-shaped UFO estimated being around 100 feet in diameter over a road as they drove along. As they approached, they clicked to have seen two gigantic creatures with thick, covered hair, luminous green eyes. Did I already read this one?
Yes.
I
was like, this sounds familiar. The 100-foot diameter, very similar shape.
Yeah, okay, it's the following year. In December of 1974, there was a well-known case of a dairy farmer, William Boskin, who was driving home from Frederick, Wisconsin. There you go, Wisconsin.
We know some people up there.
Yeah, they're okay.
Mountains suck, though.
Sorry, you made me laugh. When he nearly crashed... Sorry, There you're making me laugh because we're picking on Nick and Jake from America's Scaryland. So dairy farmer William Boskins, who was driving home from Frederick, Wisconsin, when he nearly crashed right into a huge spherical UFO sitting in the middle of the road. The bottom of the craft was enveloped by a thick mist, and sitting within a glass dome at the top of the craft was a hairy ape-like creature with reddish-brown hair and pointed ears.
Okay, that's weird.
Pointed ears, Wisconsin.
Oh, wait, okay.
Ooh.
I think I know what you're hinting at.
Do you?
Maybe.
Seemingly working or manning the controls. The craft was then the craft and its bizarre pilot then blasted off into the night to disappear. So that's a whole there's a lot more to that case.
Yeah,
that's kind of the snippet.
Okay.
So they see this craft sitting in the middle of the road. First he doesn't see it, and that's kind of weird to me. Like he almost crashes into this thing.
Yeah.
And it's 1974. He doesn't have a cell phone, nothing like that. Like he's not paying attention to the road.
Right, yeah. Sending text messages while he's driving.
And then he slams with the brakes, and there's this gigantic dome-like craft. The bottom of it's covered in mist. He sees this creature, ape-like with pointed ears.
In the dome on top.
And it's trying, in my head, it's trying to react, like it's trying to use the controls really quick to get out of there.
Yeah.
It's having some trouble. So that points to me that he may not be the one that's normally running the controls.
Okay.
Just in my head, because it's like UFOs move pretty quick.
Yeah.
And if you're struggling this hard to get up out of the road,
yeah,
you may be having some issues.
Hitting the wrong button.
Yeah. It's like Emily driving.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh no, he would have been out of there like.
Oh no, that's why he crashed
at the speed of
light
into
the road.
Oh, okay, makes sense.
I was like, yeah, road came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
This planet came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it wasn't there. I don't know. We're picking on Emily.
Oh, yeah. It's just another weird one. I was hitting at it's kind of Dogman-esque.
Okay.
Wisconsin's got a lot of Dogman.
Okay.
Ape-like with the big pointed ears.
Yeah.
As far as he could see.
Because Bigfoot, no one, when they mention Bigfoot, never really talks about ears.
Almost never.
Yeah.
You can't see their ears because their hair is
right.
what most people think. And I kind of tend to agree. Depending on what kind of primate you are, most primates have very small ears.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think.
You want to hear something weird about ears?
Yeah. I love ear facts.
Sloths have ears that look just like humans.
Really?
Just buried in their fur.
Really?
And it freaks people out when they see them.
Huh. I'd like to see that sometime.
No, you wouldn't. It'll turn your stomach.
Why?
It looks like a human ear like slapped onto the side of a sloth. Like there's something in your brain that's like, I don't like this. Do not look it up right now.
I'm doing it. I can't help it. You piqued my interest now. We
got to go on to the next report.
Okay, I'm listening.
Another very weird report came from 1989, so we jump forward in some years.
Okay.
This one was filed by Albert A. Roslo, again, who allegedly happened in Tillamook, Oregon. On the evening of September 27th, a woman was awoken by her daughter telling her that something strange was happening outside. The woman went to go investigate and was probably not prepared for how strange it would be, how strange it really would be outside. When she went out there, she saw a silver disc hovering over the ground, shaped like an inverted toy top, which is, some of our younger listeners may not know
what a top is.
Yeah.
That is true. Ain't that weird?
For our 90s babies, it's a Beyblade.
Okay, there you go.
It's an inverted Beyblade.
Okay, Beyblade.
Let her rip.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted by Beyblade. So silver disc covering the ground, draped like an inverted toy top, and was nearly transparent surface. And it was a very weird. Report continues. As a woman approaches within 30 feet, a doorway opened, revealing a human-like being of average height with blonde hair, fair skin, and blue eyes, dressed in silver coveralls. So this is the
Pleiadians,
the Pleiadian or the Nordic.
Nordics, yeah.
At the window next to the door was a Bigfoot-like creature, seemingly seated, invisible from the chest up. For the next few minutes, the woman stated that the two, gaining the impression that the human was attempting to unsuccessfully to communicate, and the vehicle and the beings vanished instantly, without acceleration beyond view or range. The woman is a psychic and claims to have periodic encounters with UFOs and Bigfoot creatures through her life. So this is a weird one.
Yeah, very.
Like, so she sees this Pleiadian, let's say, and a Bigfoot that's strapped into a seat.
But the top half is like invisible?
No. She can only see the top half because the way the craft is.
Oh, the top half.
She's looking
is
into
visible.
the
Gotcha.
UFO.
Okay.
And the Pleiadian's standing at the doorway. She looks past the Pleiadian and sees a Bigfoot strapped into a seat.
Yeah.
And who's to say the Bigfoot's willing or not?
Right, yeah.
And she gets the impression that they're trying to communicate with her unsuccessfully. And I guess they get frustrated and the ship just kind of disappears, blinks out of existence. But the author wants you to definitely know that this lady is a claimed psychic and claims that she has periodic encounters with UFOs and Bigfoot through her life.
So what are you trying to...
Nothing. It's just, it's your own, that's extra information for you to do with as you please.
Gotcha. Okay.
If you put stock in psychics and stuff like that, then that's more credit to you because they would be more open to it.
Right. Yep.
If you don't, that may be discrediting to the story.
Okay. I understand.
So it doesn't matter to me.
Gotcha.
It has no effect on my bearing of the story.
It's just part of the details. A piece of the puzzle.
But, it's like, for me, it's harder to believe a story if the person is constantly having Bigfoot encounters.
Yeah.
Not saying it doesn't happen, because there's people I know that I believe that they have had many a Bigfoot encounter through their life. I look at the story with a little more scrutiny.
Okay.
When you are saying you're constantly having Bigfoot encounters through your life.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think of is if psychics or mediums or people like that, because I believe they exist, but I also believe there's a lot of fraudsters out there.
I think there's a lot of frauds is the problem.
But I do believe it does actually exist, because I know there's people, like you've had experience with people who can just feel things, like they know they can feel certain things, like things might be hidden.
There's stuff like that does exist.
Like hidden in the walls, maybe.
Most people are able to read people.
Yeah.
And that's how they make their money.
Right.
They know what you need to hear.
What was that one dude, the guy on TV, is it John's, not John's, it was that famous psychic guy.
I cannot think of his name, but his blooper reels are the best.
Yeah? Oh, I've never seen it. What was his name?
He sues people on YouTube to take him down.
Yeah.
But literally, he only bats like 500.
Really?
But he has the best marketing team.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's making money.
There's people that secretly record when he messes up, and he's like, I'm getting a J name from you. I'm getting a J name. And like, do you have anybody named Jimmy, Justin, J? No. A Gerald, an uncle, a grandpa.
Yeah.
Nope. A mom. And it's like, no. He's like, why are you here? And he's like, my wife made me come.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think you're lying to me.
I almost want to say Jon Stewart, but it's not Jon Stewart. That's the guy.
Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Another baffling encounter from Albert. And Albert he's the main investigator on a lot of these, if you can't tell. Seemingly concerned hairy hominoid that was that can actually levitate. The incident allegedly happened in January of 1997 in the remote wilderness of...
Oh, boy.
It's in the Ural Mountains of Russia.
Oh, okay.
I will try to pronounce this name one time.
Okay, one time.
Sela Baskirik.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know right where that is now.
That kind of sounds Russian. Sela Baskirik?
Yeah, you just got to say it like...
Okay.
I don't know. Never mind.
Here lodged within this dense trees was a military radar outpost, and in the early morning hours, one of the soldiers stationed there was collecting firewood on a cold, clear day. There was supposedly a lot of snow on the ground in that morning, but the clear trail led to a pre-prepared pile of firewood on site. As the soldier began to gather the wood, he noticed that something very peculiar in the form of two hulking hairy hominoids covered in dirty reddish hair standing there within the fence's perimeters. One of these gigantic 7.5-foot tall creatures, and the other one was much shorter, just under 6 foot. And the witness would later speculate that they had likely appeared in the installation drawn to the smell of breakfast cooking in the nearby camp. The odd report continues. The soldier thought that the taller entity was the female, and the second one was probably her child. Both entities had penetrated inside the perimeter of the unit, which possibly attracted by the smell in the kitchen area. The witness was carrying an axe, and for some strange reason was not afraid, only curious of these creatures. And he walked towards them in the creature in an attempt to obtain a better look, and amazingly, he wasn't able to approach the pair at all, since both constantly seemed to move ahead of him. So, like, he's trying to walk towards them, and they're not moving, but they're moving back. Okay. So they're not taking steps. They're not walking. They're not actively moving their body, their physical form.
But he's not gaining any
distance. He's not getting closer to them.
Yeah.
And this is, so the last story had some psychic phenomena. This one has some psychic phenomena. Like, he's got this weird feeling of, like, curiosity and wants to get closer.
Ooh, it might be a lure. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, so amazingly, like I said, he was not able to approach the pair since they were constantly seeming to be moving ahead of him. He couldn't make up any ground between them, and so he increased his pace. But at the same time, the entities increased their movements quickly away from him. Finally, moving faster and faster, the entities jumped into the air, and the witness claimed that they kind of phased through the perimeter fence. It was just, but amazingly, he saw both of the hairy hominoids simply zoom into the air and levitate over the fence. So they were going to hit the fence, and instead of hitting the fence, they just shot up.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome, actually.
And then they just disappeared into the forest around the military installation. The witness had stopped his pursuit, returned back to the fence, and saw that the two tracks of the footprints, which were fallen in the snow. The layer of snow was thick and strong. Evidently, the tall hairy hominoids were very heavy. However, the footprints seemed to become dimmer and less deep the nearer they got to the camp.
Okay.
So, like, they were walking up, and they started getting less and less and less. And then when he was chasing them, they were floating.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. It's like halfway between physical and non-physical, because, unless they can have the ability to actually levitate or anti-gravity, I hate that word, but that's supernatural to me.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah.
So that was the one I messed up the most with reading, but I'm going to blame it as Russian. Even though I was reading in English, I'm going to blame it as Russian.
Because it is a Russian story.
That first name threw me off.
That is kind of crazy, though. Being in Russia, it's the same similar type of experience or accounts that we're having here in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Like, that is weird. So it's a worldwide phenomenon now, and it's similar. So whatever this is, it's they got to be closely related or something. One or the other. There's a connection there. That's worldwide.
So I'm just going to cover this one lightly because this is a very old story. But a man named James C. Wyatt of Memphis, Tennessee, he got a copy of Wyatt's great-grandfather's journal from 1888.
Okay.
And I'm just going to paraphrase this. This guy's nickname was Crazy Bear.
Okay.
So he was a big outdoor tough man. And he, in his journal, he didn't talk to many people. He was kind of like a woodsman.
Right.
But he, just one of these random days in his journal, talked about a story of seeing two Sasquatch-like creatures. And he kind of followed them through the woods. And they basically went into what he kept calling a little moon.
Okay.
So this little moon was on the ground.
Yeah.
They got into it, and it took off.
Craft.
Yeah. And keep in mind, it's 1888. We're not even in the air yet.
Right, yeah.
So he just seen this big, I was going to assume a glowing ball. It was like the only thing I can really think of that looks like that is a moon.
Right.
And
big glowing ball in the sky.
These hairy men crawled into the moon.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, though.
1888.
Yeah, it's a long time ago, but at the same time, it's not.
Not that long ago.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's
not.
140
years now.
Yeah.
Roughly, almost 135.
It's only 3 generations when you really think about it.
Yeah, it's not that, but that's pretty awesome. And people like that keep those journals, like especially back then, I feel are pretty credible. You know what I mean?
And so here's the only thing against it.
Yeah.
Is some people think that he may have been writing a short story. I don't think so, personally.
No, where would you get that inspiration from?
I don't know.
I mean, if you're
I'm just saying that is what
if you're a woodsman, yeah,
some people say.
Right, yeah.
I'm putting that out there, like the psychic thing. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I tend to believe people like that.
So now that you've heard me stumble through this reading, I think I did pretty good today.
Yeah,
I'm getting better all the time. But we have some people that complain about it, so I'm sorry.
Well, it's a disability.
Yeah, literally. This two episodes in a row we've mentioned my disability.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
We had somebody on Facebook say that they couldn't get through 12 minutes due to all the mispronunciations and all the mumbling.
Hey, well, you know what? We're not all perfect here.
Yeah.
We're professional podcasters, but we're not perfect.
Exactly. Nobody's perfect. So what the hell's happening here? What are these creatures? So we've had all these encounters. We've done, I don't know, like eight encounters-ish.
Roughly.
And we have everything from what seems like the craft is chasing Sasquatch, that the Sasquatch is the pilot of the craft, that Sasquatch is like maybe the dogs of this craft or the workforce.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen them with other aliens, other alien-type creatures.
Yeah.
So it's a really...
Weird.
All these stories are the same, but very different.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Which is maybe an oxymoron, but it's true.
But they all have that one through-line connection of being
a Sasquatch-like creature.
Right, a Sasquatch-like and a craft involved.
So let's go through some, and Jay's already mentioned several of the proposed explanations through this episode.
Right, but that even still, it's ever-growing, my thoughts.
Let's talk about people having psychotic breaks.
Okay.
It's just like, that's like... It's when all the paranormal kind of bleeds through.
Yeah. See, I guess that's something I can't...
Or I guess maybe people wanting it too bad, too. Like, you can lean into the psychic side of it, like the...
Yeah.
And they're experiencing stuff, and...
I mean, see, I just guess that's something I can't really relate to too much, because...
I don't think it happens. Especially most of these stories...
Yeah.
Have more than one witness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so, weird thing, we're going to do an episode on it. Mass hysteria has never once been documented officially.
Okay.
And it gets brought up all the time.
What, like a bunch of people hallucinating the same thing?
Like, literally, other shows have talked about it. Like, there's the real big famous UFO encounters up in New York and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, it's just mass hysteria.
Yeah.
It's a big debunking term.
Sounds like a...
It has never once been actually documented.
So it's like ice quakes.
Yes. Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started on ice quakes.
Throw back to the Bloop Part 1 episode.
There's just an ice quake. Well, what's an ice quake? Oh, we don't know.
We never experienced
one.
We've
but that's one.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Anyways, so what are these things?
Well, like you said,
it's not mass hysteria. I just had to put it on.
Yeah, and psychotic break. I don't know. Like
maybe I think the only time, like if it's one person,
yeah,
and they see something already weird,
yeah,
and because like we're going to be speakers here at an event soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think some of the stuff with the Arkansas giant killer centipede may have something to do with this a little bit. We are already experiencing something freaky, so the episode gets blown into proportion in your brain.
Okay.
Because our brain exaggerates stuff to help you fear it more. It's a thing your brain actually does. Mm-hmm. It makes a situation much more scarier than it is because your brain wants you to get out of there faster.
Right.
The lizard part of your brain.
Flight.
Yeah. So it's trying to throw up every signal it can.
Right.
So maybe that's what's happening a little bit here, is you are experiencing either a UFO or a Sasquatch encounter, and your brain's reaching at straws to rationalize it. So it's like, what do we know that's also scary, or that's also paranormal?
Right.
Throw a Bigfoot in it, or vice versa. You see a Bigfoot with orbs or lights, and you're like, well, what else?
Right. Just keeps piling on.
So is that something that's happening? And we don't know.
Yeah.
We can't say yes or no to that thought.
Right, yeah.
I personally think that it's a very, very low.
Small sliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been in not high stress situations, but I've been. I don't know. To where I've never hallucinated something to that degree. You know what I mean? To where you're seeing a ship,
so for
or a
my
giant
Bigfoot
creature
encounter,
yeah,
as a kid, afterwards, it was 10 times more scarier, and I literally had to go back through my brain and kind of unwrap it again.
Yeah.
Because your brain will start piling extra stuff. And
Extra
I think that
details.
happens a lot with Sasquatch encounters.
So, yeah, maybe the retelling of the story is way...
Your brain is just... It was so scary for the time.
Yeah.
That your brain magnifies it.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, I don't know, but it's just something. It's a thought.
Yeah. It's a thought. Could be.
What if these craft are trying to actively capture the Sasquatch?
See, this is where it gets interesting.
And maybe planets. Let's say these craft are actually aliens.
Okay.
And we all know how we kind of feel about aliens, as in true extraterrestrials from another planet.
Just not from this realm.
Yeah,
of Earth.
they could be interdimensional travelers, whatever.
Yeah.
But actual creatures from somewhere else.
Somewhere else, not here.
And what if these areas have special creatures? And by that I mean, superorganisms, extent ends of evolutionary biology where these creatures have special abilities. So that would be the ones you really want to research.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe the Sasquatch is one of those, where they're at the end of their biological chain because they have extremely advanced abilities.
Right.
So maybe that would be the thing worth researching. So you happen to witness, and that's maybe why these people are witnessing a Sasquatch, is because it's actively being chased by a UFO.
And
then it gets caught.
Yeah.
Like that first story we did.
Yeah.
Literally, the Bigfoot ran in front of the car holding something, and as it took off, a UFO was following it with a big spotlight.
Yeah, on it. So yeah, I don't know,
and then the little girl in Pennsylvania seen the Bigfoot walk into the woods with an orb.
With an orb,
and
yeah.
Then the other family seen the UFO fly over and then beam something down. So, is there just something special about the Sasquatch? And I think we both feel that there is something special about Sasquatch.
Absolutely.
That these extraterrestrials or these interdimensional beings are also extremely interested in.
Yeah. Could be a possibility, yeah. And I'm not going to lean... I'd say it's possible, but I don't think, in my personal opinion, don't think that's what's going on for sure.
We haven't done it for the other two. We got to do our J percentages.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
So what was for mass hysteria?
0.3%.
Yeah, hysterical break.
Is that the same thing?
Kinda.
Mass hysteria. And okay.
Mass hysteria is the group.
Yeah, 0.3%.
Psychotic break.
0.7%, so very small.
And then this one. Bigfoot's so special, and they're also interested in researching Bigfoot.
I mean, I can't rule this one out at all, but I mean, I'm saying it's a small sliver as well, but I don't know, 7%. This one's got a bit more.
See, this is probably the one out of all these on my list.
Yeah.
That I have the most trouble with.
Yeah. What and what for what reason?
Because I go back and forth with this is not it to this is probably most of it.
Oh, okay. Trouble in that regard. Gotcha.
Because it's
so it could be, couldn't be.
Because you got to remember, these people are also seeing something extremely freaky happening in front of them. Mm-hmm. I believe most of these encounters. Mm-hmm. So the problem is how good is their recollection of the event?
Right.
Did the Bigfoot actually go into the craft? Was the craft going for the Bigfoot? Vice versa.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know the situation. You just see, you're witnessing a part of it, but you don't know what the whole scope of the situation is.
Exactly. So that's the hardest part for me for this.
Right.
This could either be the majority of it or none of it. I guess that's how my head kind of works.
I guess I kind of agree with you there.
If the eyewitnesses are 100% accurate, then this is not it.
You're right. Yeah, because I don't think that... I just don't think they're...
Besides that very first story we did.
Yeah, but even then it could be like, not tracking it, but been like, hey, come back home. Like, we're over here. Like,
now let's move on to my next one.
Yeah.
Bigfoot is their version of a pet.
Ooh, a pet.
And this has been brought up several times for several different things.
Okay.
That this is a creature that they have and they let out to roam and feed and maybe even breed on this planet.
Yeah.
This is their interdimensional kind of breeding ground. This is their feeding ground. They drop them off while they're going to the grocery store, whatever. Their version of chores.
Yeah.
So you take your dog to the dog park, or you take your dog to the, because they'll be fine here. Nothing can harm them. They're so much more advanced, biologically speaking.
Yeah.
But this is a good place for them to eat and hang out and maybe even meet other Sasquatch.
It just seems so disrespectful
to Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm just saying that
it's just a pet. Like it's like our dog. Like, oh man. I mean, I can understand the theory, but I just cannot get down with that one.
So these next two. So what's your J percentage?
0.1%.
Oh, and what was your percentage of them trying to catch Bigfoot? I don't remember.
Oh, I think I said 7.
7, yeah. Okay. So this, I'm going to kind of split it up into several different things.
Yeah.
They're going to be really similar, but with slight differences. The first one is Bigfoot is a meat puppet.
Okay.
Joel. It's basically a biological astronaut suit for these extra-dimensional or extraterrestrial creatures to use to explore the Earth's surface.
Yeah.
That they took some DNA, basically made a puppet that they can get out in the environment and operate. And a primate would be a really good thing. Very dexterous hands, super strength, and they can survive in most climates on the planet.
Right, built for this world.
Yes, and that's literally what a lot of people think, that it's like a puppet used to get stuff done down here. And like I said, the one in South America, literally, when they weren't being seen by people, they were just collecting dirt and plant samples.
Right,
Literally hundreds of people witnessed these little furry creatures collecting dirt and plant samples.
But
when they seen people, they'd become incredibly violent. And that may be for them flipping the switch of being like, we can't be seen.
Yeah, that would be scary.
So what do you think about them being this kind of thing?
I can see that. Because, I mean, if you're a being from
another dimension, like the Mothman, for example, we kind of both believe that he's from another dimension. If it's super radioactive there, and the lack of radioactivity here, as in background radiation, it would slowly kill you. Or
even if you're just like, if you're that powerful of a being that you could create like a meat sack like being that you could embody and use, I would only imagine physically you're not the toughest organism, I guess, because you're so advanced in the form of like mind ability or intellect. Yeah, typically you're not like some hulking, strong creature that can physically fight off whatever might approach you. So it would be way more beneficial to create, like, if you're that advanced, you could create a biological being that either is a drone of yourself or just something biological you can create and then train in advance and to do whatever task needs to be done.
So like I said, these next two I'm going to have, plus this one I just said, are kind of all very similar.
Okay, yeah.
So they're more of an organic piece of technology. So like what you're saying, it's an animal they created to train to do these tasks.
Right.
And so it's not that they're piloting them. Like, I guess the meat puppet would be that they're piloting this creature. This next one, the organic piece of tech, is still an organic creature that is created for this task, and you have to kind of train it. More like we kind of said with the dog. You know, it's not quite a pet, but it's a thing that has a job. So this is going from a pet to like a cattle dog.
Right.
To where this animal-like thing has jobs that it's trained to do.
Right, yep.
But it's still much lower intellect than its creators.
Right, or it could even be like a programmed like robot kind of thing, but it's like all
organic mesh. Yeah, I get that. So, and I'll give you the last one before we get your percentages.
Okay.
But this is a lower class of extra-dimensional or extraterrestrial creature.
Yeah.
This is like their version of the working class, these big hulking hominoids.
Okay.
And other UFO encounters have kind of shared that same information. These Sasquatch-like beings are a lower form of extraterrestrial, that they are used as the working class.
Right.
Because they're big, they're not as smart. They're still much more intelligent than us, but they're not as smart as like
compared
the
to
tall whites, the Nordics, the Pleiadians and stuff like that.
Any of those.
So they employ them to work for them.
Yeah.
And that would kind of make sense with some of the stories we talked about. They're the ones getting out to do the hard work because they're big, they're bulky, they're fast.
And it might be like a relationship, they might be on level ground, like between each other, but it's a working relationship. They do the physical work where the other one will provide, other, work, end quotes, I don't know, but they might provide something for each other, like a coexisting relationship where it just, I don't know, like, I'm sure you can probably name some examples in nature that like two animals like work together.
Yeah,
I'm sure
symbiotic.
There we go. It might be a symbiotic relationship.
Yep. There's all kinds of good ones.
Oh, I know. But I figured you would rattle one off.
A sea anemone and a clownfish, probably the most famous one.
There we go, yeah.
So everybody knows what the clownfish gets out of it, but nobody really understands what the sea anemone gets out of it. So the colonies of clownfish often live inside of sea anemones. They actually live right on top of their mouth.
Yeah.
So the center of a sea anemone is the mouth. Sea anemones are animals.
Yes.
So they have stinging cells all over their body. They actually kind of filter feed through the water. They pull stuff into their mouth to feed.
Do the clownfish just not get stung by it?
They've developed immunity over time.
Wow, okay.
So every morning, like literally these clownfish have to go to this little area
and
rub their body on it to keep their immunity.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a gel kind of thing that the sea anemone produces for them.
Okay.
And they also, the clownfish get a safe place to live.
Yep.
And they collect extra food off of the sea anemone.
Okay.
What does a sea anemone get out of it?
The clownfish's poop?
No.
Oh.
Butterfly fish have specially evolved to be immune to sea anemone stings, just like the clownfish.
Okay.
But butterfly fish eat the sea anemone. So you have a whole bunch of clownfish that will literally rip apart a butterfly fish.
Ah, okay. So the
like
bodyguards.
literally, they see these little butterfly fish coming at them. The butterfly fish have that really long, thin nose.
Yeah.
And so they can get in and pick out the clownfish or the sea anemone's mouth.
Gotcha.
So these clownfish will literally rip apart this butterfly fish.
So they're bodyguards.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just protecting their home.
Yeah.
It's like okay, gotcha. If like your cabin in the woods was alive,
Yeah.
you'd be the guy with the shotgun inside. The clownfish would be.
Another weird fact, this is not symbiotic, or mostly not symbiotic relationships, but we're going to do an episode about cryptic parasites soon.
Mm-hmm.
And as parasites, there are 2 species of parasite for every 1 species of non-parasite on the planet.
Interesting.
Ain't that crazy?
It's a little crazy.
All right, so what are we going for Meat Puppet? What percentage?
Oh, I like this one.
I'm breaking them into all 3.
39% for sure, at least.
All right, organic technology, as in it's still a sentient or an animal-like creature or a sentient-like creature, but it is designed for this world to do work.
27%.
Now, a lesser or a different species of alien or interdimensional creature being used for this work.
36%.
So the Meat Puppet's the highest.
Yeah. Is that, did I say that, or did I say 37 on the first one? Or 39? I don't remember. I don't even remember.
39 is what you said.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Okay, you ready for this next one?
Okay.
All right, give me 1 second. I gotta get into character.
Ooh, okay.
It's the Nephilim, baby!
Oh.
Brat!
Yeah, I was going to do that. I'd start laughing.
All right, Joel, if you're listening to this, that's us picking on you for the episode. Joel Thomas from Kill the Mockingbirds.
Okay, ready? I'm going to do mine. Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Sasquatch coming down from the UFO. He's got 2 Uzis in his hand. He's coming in hot. He's shooting these white things and these dogmen.
Right.
He's coming in hot.
We love Joel.
He's so hot, his eyes are glowing red. That sound like Joel?
Not really, but it was funny.
Okay.
Remember, my eyes hurt.
He's coming in from the UFO.
The Nephilim.
Nephilim beings.
So
I actually had this thought when we were talking about it. So, or when you were retelling one of the stories with the Nordics, or the whatever that being was, and then having the other creature in the ship. So, like, I think we mentioned it before, like, in the Bible, they talk about, like, the hairy man. I think Esau was his name, E-S-A-U. Forget what verse or book. I don't remember it all. But I remember them talking about him and his brother. Esau was born covered in hair. He was a hairy person, and his brother was like you and I, all humans on the earth are hairless for the most part. They don't have, so they were separated, and Esau lived as a wild man, and there was a separate civilized, we'll quote, hairless one. Forget his name. I should probably have researched this somewhere. But anyways, that part is in there. So
you didn't even know what the topic was today. How are you going to research?
Yeah, I know, right? But I was thinking, like, what if, like, these beings are from, biblical times that they talked about in the Bible, and here they are still having their relationship together on this ship, and who's to say a ship isn't, the flying, the angels they talk about in the Bible with the spinning disc with the multiple eyes, the wheels and the eyes. How do we not know, like, that could just be a description of a UFO that these beings might already be in? They might have existed throughout time. They've just always been here. We're just not visited or we just don't see them very often because we're not really supposed to. We're here to experience, Earth and whatever. But you see these things, and maybe they're here for a reason. Maybe they're here to send a message. But I don't know. What if it's something like that?
So what you're getting at with that first story, or not the first story, the story with the lady in the trailer that's seen both beings.
Yeah.
That's literally, they're the same quote unquote type of being.
Yeah.
With 2 different types being expressed.
Phenotypes.
Yeah. There you go. I didn't want to take your word from you.
Right, yeah. But I mean, that's what popped into my head at first.
And like Joel talks about a lot with the Nephilim and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
Their breeding programs and whatever they do in these kind of pocket dimensions. That's what, like, all these giants through time, like, not all giants through the Bible were produced by Nephilim, but a good chunk of them were. And this may be Nephilim offspring or stuff like that, and they have this option for all this extra technology and whatnot.
Right, yeah.
And that's what people are experiencing.
A different division of whatever these other beings are. Just slivers of, I don't know, different, like you said, phenotypes or different expressions of what they are, like kind of how we are today. I mean, there's so many different people out there, like countless.
So yeah, and people don't realize that the human race is one species with many different phenotypes expressed.
Yeah.
Like I mean, scientifically talking, like an African American, a white, and an Asian are all very different types of phenotypes.
Yeah.
But when you look at their genetics, they're almost identical.
Right. I
think phenotypes just means expressed traits. Yeah. So we all have the same traits, and just means what basically what's turned on and what's turned off. Mm-hmm. So like melanin production. That's why people that live in climates that generally have a lot more sun have a lot more melanin, so they can reflect the sun.
I guess so.
Yes.
I don't know.
So that's what makes like people darker.
Right.
Melanin
I get that.
cells.
Yeah.
So it's literally these groups of people that live in climates that have a lot more dense sunlight for a lot longer periods of time. They have to have more melanin, or they get more diseases. They get more, they get burns and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah. Or it's like my dad at the beach in the summer.
It looks like a lobster.
Oh gosh.
Looks like a one-eyed, scar-faced lobster.
And I don't understand. He does not and will refuse to wear sunscreen. He will refuse. He will get burnt.
He's from when Ohio used to catch on fire constantly.
Or get buried in 8 feet of snow.
So what percentage you put on the Nephilim?
So, I mean, Nephilim, or can I say biblical beings? Can we put it there? Like biblical times,
sure.
Ancient times, old world?
Sure.
How about that? That I can get down with.
So what's the percentage? Give me my number.
51.
Ooh.
This is a big one, because I really do think Joel from Kill the Mockingbirds is onto something. If you listen back to our episode on Tony's show,
he is just
with the portal babies,
so much more knowledgeable in this subject than anybody I know.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
We love picking on him because he's a good buddy of ours.
Oh, yeah.
But literally, it's like, he talks over my head with it. Like, literally, when we were ice fishing, sitting at dinner.
Yeah.
He's talking about this stuff, and I'm like, this is what it's like to be around me when I get on, like, a fish kick.
That's so funny.
Nobody knows anything I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. But you're in deep. Mm-hmm. You're in deep, and you
gotta finish it. You gotta finish it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what you're going 51 on the Nephilim?
Nephilim
or biblical beings?
Biblical beings, old world beings. I kind of lump them all together.
Ready for my next one? Second to last.
Yeah.
They just happen to be in the same area.
Just same place, same time?
Because we've talked about all this weird phenomena over the years that happen in the same area at the same time and that may not be related. Mm-hmm. Just like maybe these are portal areas. These are areas of weaker dimensional walls. Mm-hmm. And this is just stuff like Bigfoot's leaking through, Mothman's leaking through, orbs are leaking through, UFOs are leaking through.
And like this makes me think of, well, I'm going to say it kind of, Skin, ... Walker, Texas Ranger Ranch. That's what I'll refer to it as.
But they have Bigfoot and UFO sightings.
Exactly.
So what I guess I'm getting at is that they are not necessarily connected, but they are all symptoms of the same thing.
Of just a product of that environment where it just might be a super high energy area, and then
it's just kicking out all these types of things from all these different types of places.
It blends all the walls,
the worlds,
all the different dimensions together, and your mind just cannot separate one from the other. It's just all existing at the same time. And they might not even be here physically. I mean, maybe they are, but who knows?
I mean, how many people would describe Bigfoot like morphing into trees and Bigfoot just disappearing and stuff like that?
Right, yeah. I mean, they're here, but it just might be an energy thing, an energetic projection.
Mm-hmm. There you go. What's your percentage? Portal areas.
41. I like it. So, I think I'm over 100% on all these.
Yes. Somebody needs to go through and add them all up. Now, here's one for you. We've never, out of all of these things, we've never really thought of the Bigfoot as being the pilots.
Yeah, I know, right?
They're the ones that are running the show.
And like I said, if
think about it, if you're working with Nordics or you're working with these little Pleiadians and you're 7-8 foot tall, muscular, and you just punch a Pleiadian into dust.
This is mine now. Like revolt.
What if Bigfoot are the interdimensional beings? What if they are the pilots, the men in black, the other aliens, the Greys? They all work for them.
Ooh. Now that's quite the theory.
That's what I'm saying. What if they're the pilots?
The Bigfoots are the
one in Wisconsin was not. it was a dog man trying to operate.
Yeah, that was...
It's like the Bigfoot got killed or hit by a semi, and the dog man's like, I gotta get out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know how these buttons work.
Or like you said, it could have came down and like something's wrong with the ship, and it's like fixing. Here comes this guy. Oh gosh, hurry. Reattaches.
My first day on the job.
Hot wires to wire something together, and it takes off.
My first day on the job.
Yeah.
This happens. Now, so what do you think about them being the pilots?
Oh, well, I think it's very much a possibility, especially if it, with my thought or theory of it being like a old world being, like humanoid, human type being. Why not? Why wouldn't it be capable of having technology or, jumping to that side of the spectrum rather than being a natural, man of the woods, but being just an advanced being, just like any of these others? You can't rule that out. I mean, why not? Yeah, I'll put it at 41%. We're at like 300% now.
Okay, so that's pretty much been the Bigfoot connection with the UFO, at least an introduction to this topic.
Yeah,
because we didn't cover. I only picked the relatively small stories,
and they're all pretty interesting too.
Yeah, there was no dog in the bunch besides the one I really butchered there at the end. I was doing so good.
The Russian one, yeah.
But it's just weird because it's more common than I think most people, especially in the Sasquatch field, realize. And probably the biggest thing with the Bigfoot community right now as a whole is that half the Bigfoot community is ignoring the side of it.
Yeah.
And the other half of the Bigfoot community wants it all to be connected to this.
Yeah. Oh,
I think there's problems on both sides like that.
There's another one you hadn't even mentioned yet, possibility. So what if...
Oh, gosh.
What if, and this could be separated into two, maybe separate ones. What if, remember the first story I had that beam of light shining down? What if whatever these crafts were, what if the crafts are one just alive themselves, an organic being?
Oh, I did forget that. I didn't even thought about that earlier. And we talked about with the mushroom UFOs.
Yeah.
That this is the psychic phenomena you're experiencing because you're getting higher than a giraffe's ankles.
Yes, it could be. Yeah, that's not that. The ankles aren't that high, are they?
They're higher than normal ankles, I'll tell you that.
Well, that's true. Higher than a giraffe's bum. Let's put it that way. That's pretty high up there.
No, that you literally Betty Barney Hill. They experienced the Nordic type aliens, spreading them around the ship.
Yeah,
and then attacking Barney.
And they could be making you see these things. Or what if they're psychically projecting this being down? What if that beam of light was their psychic projection? Like you could just literally see the beam that was coming down, putting this thing out.
Or mushroom UFOs are the main natural predator of Sasquatch.
Ooh, yeah. And Sasquatch is
running,
fearing
booking
this.
it.
He
That's
knows.
why they got the orb.
It's the only thing.
See, the orbs are actually floating mushroom eggs.
Oh wait, okay. Let's actually explore this for a second, because
the orbs are floating mushroom eggs, and the Sasquatch ate them.
Oh, okay. Now you're
so the mushrooms hunt down the Sasquatch to eat them.
Well, okay, that's a theory. Okay, I was thinking though, Sasquatch. If it's probably an apex, being here on Earth, correct? What could if Sasquatch was a true biological being, or even has supernatural abilities? What's more dangerous than it? What couldn't it kill?
You gotta remember, it's from the last ice age.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff was eating or killing Sasquatch. Literally, some guy did really cool art. I wish I knew his name.
Yeah.
A Sasquatch from the last ice age running into a short-faced bear.
See, I think if you get a couple of them, they could take
that's different.
Yeah.
This was one Sasquatch versus one short-faced bear. And the short-faced bear would wreck a Sasquatch. One-on-one, it would.
Maybe. But Sasquatch are so fast.
But you gotta
remember. And
they
got hands. He could just sidestep him.
This is the same fight.
Jump on its back and
modern
get him in
day gorilla versus a modern day grizzly bear. The grizzly will win.
I don't know. I think whoever gets the first blow in first.
No, I don't think. I do not think a gorilla can hit a grizzly bear hard enough for the first time.
He's got to choke him out. He's got to choke him out.
You can't reach around that neck. Do you understand how big a grizzly bear is? Do you understand how big a short-faced bear is?
Do you know how big a 10-foot Sasquatch arms are?
So anyway, he did a really cool art of it's called The Final Moment.
Yeah.
Of literally this gigantic short-faced bear raising up over this older Sasquatch.
Yeah.
And the Sasquatch is just looking up at it.
Well, let me still get to my theory, though. Because you're wrecking it.
So, yes. Right now, there's not a lot that can hurt.
So, they know. So, physically, nothing could. But, mentally, something could probably wreck a Sasquatch. And what would that be? What would be the apex mental predator on this planet that we theorize could exist? organic UFO, a mushroom UFO. If it can mess with your mind or mental, I mean, that would wreck a Sasquatch because it'd make him drive him psychotic.
What is he doing then? What's the goal for the mushroom in this?
So the mushroom's like, okay, I want to eat. So like if they're, let's just say they're natural enemies, because the one can mess with the other, you know what I mean, and screw up whatever, you know, it's feeding grounds, hunting grounds, something. So now they're like natural enemies because they can both psychically project, I don't know, warfare towards each other. So they're just natural enemies. So when you see, maybe they just stumbled across a fight about to take place or a territory, you know, like a turf war. A Sasquatch, an organic mushroom UFO
I feel
turf
like
war.
we're going to have this conversation later, so we're going to stop it there.
There's my theory. That's what I'm going to settle on.
I have been the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I've been opening your mind's eye, Jay.
And once again, thank you guys for listening to the Cryptids of the Corn podcast. We greatly appreciate you. Please leave a 5-star review.
Yes.
You don't have to leave a comment, but we really would appreciate those reviews. It really helps the show out greatly.
Yeah, leave us a comment on any form of social media or on our reviews. I mean, that'd be great.
All right.
And remember, anything is possible.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Please share with a friend you think would like us. It's the best way to help our show grow.
Leave a comment, rate us, a 5-star review, and remember, there is always extra content on patreon.com/cryptidsofthecorn.com.
And don't forget, stay magical.
Welcome to BreezeLine, where you'll say, "Ta-ta, T-Mobile," because we've got more reliable home internet that's a whole lot faster. In fact, 10 times faster. No, seriously, because we have real internet backed by our fiber-powered network. And T-Mobile, well, they just have a 5G cellular network. So act now to get superior home internet. Find your perfect speed with prices starting at just $19.99 a month for 24 months. Terms and conditions apply. Go to breezeline.com to learn more.
At Kroger, shopping with pickup and delivery is the same as shopping in-store. Same low prices, deals, and rewards on the same high-quality items. It's one small click for groceries, one big win for busy families everywhere. Start your cart today at Kroger.com. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
And right now, stock up on your favorites during the 10 for 10 sale. Mix and match participating items and get 10 for just $10 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.